this moment, we go live to Venezuela, where the prosecutor of the nation is giving statements. We are looking at images, live images from the Attorney General's Office of the Republic. He is giving statements at this moment. We are watching Tarek William Saab.
That organized crime, and we know what happens. This group of paramilitary criminals that they are alias Tren del Llano and in Cuarico. They have been threatening by hoods, and they attacked, besieged, and they were burning alive people from school. And everything has been cleared. Unfortunately, international outlets have been able to observe, to watch, that are not social movements who are protesting, in quotation marks, burning facilities. And even as yesterday, there are over 80 police officers and military injured by these terrorist groups, by these criminal groups. My solidarity, my sympathy with the families, with victims belonging to the security forces that have been attacked criminally by these thugs, and they have whose brains have been washed. As we have seen before, for years, I have denounced it several times. It is one of the facets of hybrid war, and I am going to explain how, from social media, they have achieved so, because they have already planned it to attack the minds of many Venezuelans, to execute these plans that we have been denouncing. So the first thing I want to denounce as Attorney General of the Republic, and at the same time I want to congratulate the people of Venezuela, their workers, housewives who haven't been falling in this kind of call. These are people that are on drugs, that are drug addicts, and you see their body languages as they are psychopaths. Who hasn't protested in a peaceful way in this country? Those peaceful protesters use stands, and they give a speech, a proposal, but this, what we are seeing today, and I am going to show you, and that I showed you yesterday and the day before yesterday, it forms part of this escalation of violence in which transnationals from today, from January 1st, they were already saying that they were chanting fraud. And so a question, what did you submit? What did you accept the rules of the game? What did you accept these international observers? I think it was very positive and attached to Constitution and to the guarantors that provides the Constitution and the justice system that the citizen President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, have appealed, have shown an appeal of protection to the electoral chamber, and there they have the evidence, and there's a national prosecutor there which is going to accompany the interrogations, the investigation underway. I want to announce and inform that several let's say, candidates who were at the electoral race, they have presented with their lawyers, well, to form part of this investigation, of this positive and correct investigation, because if you don't have nothing to lose, you are not afraid. And so this, we know, we have already denounced. I said this phrase, how to re-elect the system of transmission of the ads. They achieved, but the idea was an absolute blackout that stopped the electoral system from working, and they have been doing it. They have been doing to try to install a parallel electoral council, and here we have a single national electoral council, and this is a private organization who are setting up all this forgery along with the U.S. They are U.S. allies, and they are just forging acts, and they even don't correspond to the accurate figures. If for instance, if there are 100 ballots, they just put that there are 500 ballots. So it is important to see how the criminals, because they want to attack symbols that related to the identity of Venezuelans. They try to behead the statue of Jose Gregorio Hernandez, and they just grabbed the plate, and they wanted to behead the face of Jose Gregorio Hernandez, and at that time he was arrested. And let's see a video of what happened in Guaira. The criminals who destroyed the statue of Commander Hugo Chavez, and then they celebrated, and then they were crying when they were arrested. Let's see it. Well, that statue was mine. Look, I think what is left is on the square of Deportivo, and another one too. There you see the intellectual author who boosted this violent action that you are seeing on the screen, of the beheading or of the statue that has nothing to do with the peaceful protest, and that has nothing to do with an electoral event, but it takes part of all that instigation of hate, that poisoning that they have searched for most of the Venezuelan people have, and it was and so the most vulnerable people were affected by that. Many young people with criminal records. And well, let's see before and after of who besieged the mayorship of a place. Let's see. That's the good thing about before and after. There's always a day after. What has to do the headquarters of an institution with the alleged complaint or protest of an electoral issue? This is terrorism. These people cannot be classified as vandalics. They are committing terrorist crimes because inside that facility there were people working. And when you launch Molotov bombs on a place with people inside, you want to burn them alive. So these are not peaceful protests, but acts of terrorism. Let's see the number 3. This has fentanyl and all kinds of drugs mixed, and we have silenced this subject, but he threatens Maduro's life and lawmaker Diosdado Cabello's life. Let's see. Diosdado Cabello, you are a million. Remember my face. Come and look at me. Come and look for me. My name is Jesus Alexander Suarez, and I am in prison because I am a creator of a TikTok video in which I insulted the President of the Republic, Nicolas Maduro, and the lawmaker Diosdado Cabello. I am here assuming and asking for pardon because I get influenced by Maria Corina Machado and El Mundo, and I call the youngsters not to be manipulated like as me. Well, we feel pity, compassion, sympathy for these kinds of youngsters who are losing their future because they made them lose their mind, literally. What for, I ask? What do they have achieved? You can come out to the streets of Caracas and all Venezuela and you will find tranquility, absolute calm, and the called tiny commands. We will see what they were. I want to recall when we investigate and prosecute one subject, a leader of a criminal group, Bran Ulloa, who he explained in a sequence manner all this that we are seeing, and he said it in January this year, and in a escalation from January to July, and he said that he was going to promote a called tiny command, and it was not an electoral structure, but a criminal structure, and we are already seeing it little by little. Let's see this incident in Bolivar. The subject in that before and after participated in beheading the statue of Commander Chavez. Let's see it. Come on and help me. Come on and help me, boy. What I, as a penal lawyer, which is my expertise, with my valedictorian grades after being graduated as a lawyer, how the experts of criminology, those those experts of the study of the mind of those criminals, they turn into a classic, because those who appear expressing, reflecting in the case of this press conference and the previous ones, you see them, the faces, and you speak to them, and you have a conversation with them, and they are literally psychops. They don't care about their beloved ones, but the intellectual authors order them. Why don't they appear in these actions directly? They order to do it many times from overseas, but obviously they already have this plan, because all of this started on Monday, immediately after electoral results were given. They didn't manage protesting avenues or mobilizing students, workers, housewives, farmers, etc. But I mean the masses fronts, absolutely nothing. They didn't move anything regarding this. They just moved these kinds of subjects that we are showing on screen, which we will showing these videos on a sequence, because we are just choosing from all we are collecting the most important ones for the people to know and be updated on how these youngsters were poisoned, and even this for a criminal target. You don't win an election, but you submit your candidacy, you appeared on, you want electoral witnesses. That means that you are validating the National Electoral Council, and as you don't turn out a winner, then you grab this plan of searching to affect and attack, as it was the automated system of the transmission of the acts, to produce a blackout. At the moment, the president of the National Electoral Council appears, and then to boost and to foster a civil war in this country. That didn't happen, because at 12 a.m. on 12 p.m. on July 28th, then the president of the National Electoral Council appeared, and so hours later it occurred a discontent in the far-right sector, and at the early hours of the morning they appear with depressive faces. The plan they have was this: to commit violent actions to educative facilities and the governmental institutions. What has to do a military base? What do you have to burn it? And the headquarters of the Electoral Council. They attacked the mayorship, a police station nearby the port of the Cruz, and they burned down the governmental party in Tigre and the statues in Tigre. They all are arrested. I am not going to show you again the video that you already saw. I want to show you Falcon, an insane, a mad that broke into the Electoral Council to plunder the Electoral Council, and he stole the computer. And let's see the before and after of this criminal. Folks, I am here. I have with me a computer. My name is Coderos. I am 19 years old, and my ID is and I was at my home camp, and then I heard this uprising, and there was all this gathering, and I went to there, and what I just broke into the electoral council, and I participated in there in the. Did you cast your vote? No, I didn't. I was protesting to go with the flow. You committed a crime, so you get arrested, and you have to respond for that crime. You don't even cast your vote, and he thinks we are playing, and he thinks that it is a game. Today, now everyone is influencer. Here, there is an insane. He is an insane. Maybe he would like to imitate a Peruvian, and because he raises his hand and then he murder people, and you just trigger your pistol. It is, well, it seems a very humble lady in Peru, and we are already identify her. She's calling. Well, she triggered her pistol, and let's see what's the future of this lady who is instigating to kill, believing that this is a peaceful protest. Let's see it. People, why don't we give $1 to burn Maduro alive, and then pull the trigger, and that's it. Let's see. Let's see. She's so funny. Who can applaud this? Just the ones addicted to alcohol or drugs, who like seeing these kinds of things when they are high, because their adrenaline is high. But when they came to normality, how are they gonna felt? They would feel remorse. I didn't want to burn alive people or burn down the public facilities. What an institution of the Venezuelan state has to do with this, with not being agreeing or on an electoral result? It has nothing to do. And let's see how Venezuela is today from Wednesday or Thursday. The isolated uprisings places on Monday and on Tuesday, they were totally fought off, and that deserves the acknowledgement and the applause of all of us, because the prosecutor's office and all Venezuelan authorities have been acting immediately. This is not what happened in 2014. What do you think? At that time, the head of the prosecutor's officers during 15 years, she gave an order a falling arm, not investigate, not arrest on action, not opening files. And obviously after the detentions, she didn't open any hearings, and happened what it happened. In February 2014, the country was on flames. To not talk about May or June, but this is not this kind of prosecutors officers. We have aware and we are conscious of wanting to maintain peace, and we are abided by Constitution. And of those arrested, we guaranteed a fair trial, a due process proceeding, who appeared to have no directly any influence on these incidents. There are constitutional guarantees. There is a human right to the due proceeding or to the due fair trial, and so they will act in consequence of the prosecutor's office, and those courts will be in favor of that innocent. And so those who were arrested on action, which are all recorded and with pictures, they will be sentenced with high sentences to be in prison. So I want even to make some reflections after having seen the videos. We have stressed, we have underscored, but people have to study concepts that are being used in Venezuela that were in the past maybe in a small extent carried out in some countries, and that in Venezuela they missed all those, let's say, rehearsals of performances of war, of non-conventional war. It's not an invention of me. I know for the study that this is a kind of hybrid war of the fourth generation war, the one that you consider, where it plays a fundamental role to achieve that a population sector be a rising rage, anger, and go to kill, burn facilities, committing crimes, and even the instigation to murdering. And we are already seeing this in Venezuela as of the time that Chavez took office, and in a scale after the coup d'etat. And so we have to repeat all those images. These snipers that were on the roofs, they killed, coming from Central America, they killed several Venezuelans, dozens of Venezuelans, to generate chaos. They even killed photographers, and I remember some who died from that time. They hurt an opponent, protesters, and the vast majority of victims were in favor of President Hugo Chavez. And on April 11, 2015, I remembered one of them were reading a sheet of paper, trembling, shaking, and saying fake figures, and that the plan was that they caught some members of the military command, and then there was a response of the civic military population who achieved to return to power Hugo Chavez. And so who speaks is, I can be witness of the face of fascism, because I saw it when they murdered hundreds of thugs who were supported by Mayor Baruca and Chacao. The treason of that era, some factor who was in charge of that fascist coup of Carmona, who led us a police car, and we were beaten brutally. They put me in a car, then in another one, and I was then I appeared with alleged charges of having war weapons. Obviously, it all was a setup. I was. They violated the parliamentary impunity, and they had the plan of assassinating President Chavez. And I want to recall this and the response of the people, the unity, the civic military unity, and so as from that time the hybrid war escalated. So they wanted to stop the climate of peace in Venezuela. There was a referendum in 2004. There were governors' elections and mayors' elections in that year. There was later elections in 2006 there were presidential elections in which Hugo Chavez won, and then the country went into a stability climate. But when this arrived to the infinite and beyond, after the unfortunate death of President Hugo Chavez, and they said this is the time, and there was a second phase of this hybrid war, not only with the drained mind, but what I said, to become a good citizen in a neurotic citizen in which they lose the control of their own lives. They began to suffer from hypertension and or other health disorders, and because of this social media. And then it happened what in 2014, the known Guarimba uprisings, and then in December 2013 there were regional and municipal elections. There was a peace climate. The ones who won from the opposition they gathered with the President of the Republic in Miraflores Palace, and then on January 1st there was a plan called the Exit, who were at that plant wanted from Justice Leopoldo, and the one who likes to insult the Venezuelans day and night, losing their identity as Lady, the Machado, and the Sir Antonio Ledesma. They signed that plan, and we could see what happened. Almost 50 deaths generated by these hooded criminals, a big part police officers. And then in 2017, 2018, after brutal cohesive sanctions in Venezuela that escalated in 2019, and amid all those years, the attack with drones, C4, some international correspondents, and they revealed all that fact and classified it as an attempt of assassination against the president. All all TV channels recognize it. There are dozens of convicted for that attempt, and then they came in April 2019 amid having imposed a puppet which was not elected in a electoral circuit of the Wairat. And let's see, Carmona Standard, who called Carmona Standard to vote, the dictator Carmona. He was almost understandable. His speech was very hard to understand. He called for voting Edmundo González Urrutia. Those who called to vote for Carmona Standard, well, you don't be surprised. This is the same coup monger plan. And they want to use these armed groups, people who are even being in jail with criminal records for all these bad actions. I want just to recall before ending that the hybrid world is deployed simultaneously for different internal areas that are projecting even outside to impact the public opinion, to influence on the making decisions of states and attacking affecting civilian and military services. Well, the hybrid world searches through coercion. It is to influence population to sow the hate against governmental officials and leaders. Popular leaders of Chavism were spotted by these fascist factors. We applaud the presidential elections in the state. We applauded the decision of the state to protect the governmental leaders, and they aren't being able to spread bloodshed in our country. In 2014, said that the emotional statuses can be spread individual by individual through social media. So this alteration allowed them to multiply the contents for the information received by these 700,000 people over their emotions. So the number of positive and negative messages they read, the users read, and they realized that the users posted negative and positive messages according to what they had seen previously. So if they were able to do all that 12 years ago, how will they develop these kinds of actions? How there are lots of more social media, more tests that are, of course, maybe in top secret, and in some time they will be unclassified. So they have the capacity to inoculate hate in a specific group of population, Then, so we are already seeing it. There are lots of testimonies of our friends that many people who consider friends in their families have posted on WhatsApp and on social media instigations of hate, and even murdering. And so what these friends have done for their own mental health, they have deleted them from their contacts. And so they said, I didn't imagine that that person would come to that. Some people posting burned places and people full of blood. These places that were vandalized by these criminals, they were surprised because they said that they were normal people who have never expressed things like that, not on social media, but not only on WhatsApp, but on social media. So we have to set apart from these kinds of people, because if you were with him or her and everything was peace and love, and then they turn into this hated person and posting all these negative messages previous July 28. So the vast majority of the Venezuelan people is like that? No, it's not like that. We have another thought. So we are prone to dialogue, peace, debate. That's why all of this is explained in what I'm referring. We are under a high operation, and so we have been witnessing a high cyber attack. The owners of all these social media have united to execute this plan in Venezuela and achieved what they have achieved in the Ukraine, Czech Republic, and in Egypt on a time I remembered, but in Venezuela they haven't been able to attain it, because even they have tried since 1998. I could highlight that these attacks to symbols of the political sectors, the attacks of leaders, along with the cyber attacks to the transmission electoral systems, the transmission data of the electoral system. They attacked all websites. What do all these have to do with political debate or dialogue about an issue, an electoral issue or anything? Nothing. It's dirty. So this doesn't make sense to you come to compete in an election. That's an alibi. I always said it. The alibi is allegedly this sector of fascists to go to an electoral event and then escalate in all of these actions that we have been witnessing. In the interrogations of the detainees, the group of known as VB, and a far-right neo-Nazi group, they confess it to attorney generals, to the justice systems, and even let's recall that an alleged influencer that when he speaks, he seems like a drug addict. He said on July 28th, it is the alibi that from that time we begin an escalation, an insurrectional escalation. But it hasn't been like this because it has been isolated attacks, and they have burned cars to opponents. Opponents journalists have the protesters that were there burned them a car to an opponent journalist. And so this is just the aftermath of what I am mentioning. On Sunday evening, there was an operation being conducted. It's not a military coup. It is not an armed insurrection. Let's say it's not an uprising or a popular riot or a military rebellion of military, but this is a cyber attack, virtual attack that have affected millions of Venezuelans inside and outside. And so people ask, why do you block me? Who's gonna will to listen to hate messages from subjects that don't seem normal people? In moments like this, so we can distinguish who have this kind of sick mind and who doesn't want anything of it.
Well, let's finish that the victims of violence is the people who wasn't able to go to work, and they are completely outrageous because this group prevents them from going to work and make their business or go to their regular life. So let's see, the effect is contrary. The people supports us, and I want to congratulate the prosecutor's office because today we conducted in Carabobo's Square. There you see the people, all our prosecutors and authorities assisting the people. It is happening right now. From the morning to the end of the afternoon, we are assisting those who have some claims regarding an illegal occupation of their assets or any robbery situation in their community, or a file that has not been prosecuted. This is happening now. People are coming to the prosecutor's office and they are denouncing some events. And I want to say to these peaceful people that are in front of us, in front of our headquarters, that go forward, and you can count on this prosecutor's office and the number of people being assisted are over 200 who have arrived and filed their lawsuit. And this is a very encouraging figure. Over 350,000 Venezuelan people from 2000 till now, they have come to the prosecutor's office, and they have been doing these kinds of works that make us proud. And I praise our officials, our people Yes, these images are just happening right now, and they are doing what the people has to do with something could be affecting their rights. They have to claim, and the people will be assisted and defended. An applause to the people of Venezuela, and an applause to those who have achieved this peaceful climate. And to end, I would answer a question. Good afternoon, prosecutor. I would like to know your stance about the resignation of the OU's secretary regarding he will file charges against the President of the Republic. Well, that of the Almagro, is that we don't feel pity, because this is a despicable subject in the place where he was born and in every country, and he's a person wanted when he caused the coup d'etat in Bolivia, which caused hundreds of injured and deaths, and the taking office by a dictator that you see how ended. In that, he participated in that fascist military coup d'etat against Evo Morales, and he is the puppet of the CIA, the puppet of the US, for fostering against Venezuela and the opposing governments of the US. All this escalation of events trying to destabilize the country, but they haven't achieved that. And so I said, go to cry to the valley, because you are a short time left in that post. Nobody wants you. Well, he himself, he hates himself. He has a creepy face. And so, who's gonna believe this subject who has urged the destabilization of our region, and he hates the Venezuelan people? And let's see who doesn't recall Almagro crying when he was foreign minister, when in the Montaña barrack. He was crying because Hugo Chavez had passed away. But he's completely unfolded. His action was totally disapproved. Who is he to order anything? With this CPI, the Venezuelan state signed a cooperation agreement that is advancing, that is fulfilling the items, the technical cooperation, and that is what exists. So nobody on their same mind could believe in a second in that thug that he will brought to justice someday for being the material and intellectual author of destabilizing many governments in Latin America. So he have to be trialed. In the case of Superlano, I could advance something. I appreciate your question. That he is in good health condition, and I advanced that he is cooperating, and so the ones who know of law know what I am talking about. And he is admitting some of the things that I have been narrating, and on due time Frank Ulloa, detainee in Marina, he confessed he is providing interesting data because we have already identified the major group of those who have participated in this attack against the updating electoral system to the Electoral Council. He is in good health condition and he has been visited by the human rights prosecutors, and he is arrested, and they are cooperating, providing important elements that we will reveal further. Thank you very much.
We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.